Imagine waking up this morning. All you heard was a low roar that made the ground tremble and the wind rustling through giant leaves as tall as skyscrapers. Have you ever wondered, if we had a time machine and were thrown back to the Jurassic period, would we be able to survive for more than an hour? Movies often depict humans running from monsters, but the reality is far more brutal, hotter, and far stranger than you could ever imagine. Forget your comfort zones. Today, we're going to take an extreme survival simulation. We'll dig deep. What would it be like to breathe toxic air? What would you eat when fruits and grains didn't even exist? And who really ruled the planet when the T-Rex hadn't even been born? During the Jurassic period, the face of the Earth looked nothing like the maps you learned in school. The world's land masses were fused into one massive supercontinent. But don't imagine beautiful beaches. Because sea levels were much higher than they are today, much of the land we live on today still lay dormant at the bottom of the ocean. Ocean temperatures were also much warmer than they are today. Due to global warming, the planet lacked polar ice caps. Imagine, the polar regions, now frozen and cold, were actually lush, green jungles during the Jurassic period. The Earth was then a giant greenhouse experiencing a fever due to incredibly active geological activity. On land, you won't find any grasslands. Instead, there are swampy forests filled with tall trees and ferns dominating the landscape. The weather will be extremely humid, with rain falling almost constantly, creating swampy puddles everywhere, ready to swallow anyone who isn't careful. Your biggest problem isn't just predators, but the air itself. When you take your first breath, your lungs will feel heavy. The Jurassic atmosphere is a real physical challenge for modern humans. Our planet was at its most active phase at that time. The Earth's interior was constantly spewing its contents through volcanic eruptions, releasing massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the air. The effect? Besides the extremely hot average temperature, these high levels of greenhouse gases would make you feel dizzy, nauseous, and constantly short of breath. It's like being trapped in a cramped, crowded room with no ventilation whatsoever. Sweat will constantly pour from your body due to the extreme humidity. In this world, dehydration and heat stroke are as effective killers as dinosaur fangs. You might be hoping to meet the iconic T-Rex or the majestic Triceratops. But here's the surprising fact: they don't exist yet. They won't appear until hundreds of millions of years after this era ends. So, who should you be afraid of? Meet Dilophosaurus. This is the greatest apex predator of our time. It was the perfect killer, with its gigantic size, razor-sharp teeth, and incredibly powerful grip. Don't be fooled by its seemingly heavy movements. Its speed when chasing prey could be comparable to the speed of a motorcycle. It was capable of taking down animals twice its size. And the threat doesn't just come from the front. Always keep an eye on the sky. Overhead, there's a swarm of flying reptiles, pterosaurs, with large, sharp fangs. Although their bite force is relatively weak, and they usually target small prey, you still don't want to be in their sights when they swoop down from the clouds. If you're lucky, you might spot a small, insect-eating prehistoric bird, one of the ancestors of modern birds, which only began to evolve at the end of this era. Don't even think about venturing into the water unprepared. The Jurassic Sea was the very definition of a nightmare for anyone afraid of the deep. It was teeming with bloodthirsty monsters. From sea dinosaurs larger than bears crocodile-like predators the size of vans, to dolphin-like monster fish. Ichthyosaurs, the size of buses with mouths full of razor-sharp fangs. After successfully evading the Dilophosaurus, your stomach starts to growl. Here comes the next tough challenge. What could humans have eaten in the Jurassic period? You won't find rice, tubers, wheat, let alone sweet fruits. Nature hadn't yet created these crops. So, to survive, you'd have to put your disgust far away. Grilled insects. Luckily, insects existed in this era and were similar in size to those we know today. They are the most readily available and safest source of protein to consume daily. Hunting herbivores. If you have the courage and the weapons, hunt plant-eating dinosaurs. Why not carnivores? Because carnivorous dinosaur meat tends to be very tough, and, more dangerously, its meat carries the risk of containing toxins from the prey it eats. Coastal treasures. If you can reach the beach or shallow sea, look for shellfish like ammonites. The coral reefs that are just beginning to form at this time are a great place to look for ancient seafood. If you're lucky, on your way back to your hideout, you might find a dinosaur egg left behind. But remember, make sure the mother doesn't see you, or you'll never reach your resting place. For shelter, forget about the cloth tent. Your best bet is to find a sturdy cave to avoid land predators and protect yourself from the almost constant rain. So, that's a true picture of life in the Jurassic period. A wild, hot, and incredibly dangerous world where humans were just a tiny speck in a food chain dominated by giant reptiles. Surviving there required more than just courage. It required physical endurance against the suffocating atmosphere and an instinct to always be alert to what lurks beyond the trees or beneath the water's surface. After learning about all these horrors and challenges, would you still be interested in trying to return to that era? Or perhaps you would appreciate the conveniences of our modern world more?